You've been rehearsing lines in your head, in the shower, in the car, lying in bed, replaying something you said hours ago, and adjusting it like someone is going to hear the improved version. But no one is. You've been performing for an audience that was never really watching. And there's a version of that idea that sounds depressing, like nobody cares about you. But when it actually lands as a fact, something strange happens. You get your life back. Because the weight drops and you stop checking with people before doing normal things. But most people don't reach that point for years. Because somewhere in your mind, there's this belief that people are paying way more attention to you than they actually are. Think about the last time you walked into a room and suddenly felt watched, like people were judging your posture, your expression, your presence. So you adjusted. Maybe you picked up your phone to look busy. All for people who were probably thinking about their own problems. This invisible audience in your head feels real, but it's just your self-consciousness wearing other people's faces. And it runs all day. Every interaction turns into, how did that land? What do they think now? Should I have said it differently? Meanwhile, the people you're performing for moved on hours ago. They're not replaying that moment. You are. And the longer you do this, the more the performance starts to feel like the real you. That's why it's exhausting, because it never stops. This didn't start recently. It started way earlier than you think, in years you barely remember. Somewhere along the way, you learned a quiet rule. You are more lovable when you perform correctly. When you're useful, impressive, agreeable, easy to deal with. And when you weren't, something changed. Maybe attention dropped, maybe warmth pulled back. So your brain adapted. It built a system where approval is equal to safety. And that system has been running ever since. That's why even today, you edit texts before sending them, delete them, rewrite them, and still feel unsure. You're still performing for a room you left years ago, and it costs more than you realize. Because every time you choose what's acceptable over what's true, you lose a little bit of yourself. That's the specific kind of tired you feel after social situations. Not physical tired. It's the tired from monitoring yourself the whole time. Laughing a little harder than you felt. Holding back what you actually wanted to say. Adjusting your energy to match the room. And then going home drained without knowing why. Because the thing that drained you was the performance itself. And the worst part? The performance doesn't even create real connection. It blocks it. Because every, I'm fine, you didn't mean, every opinion you held back puts distance between you and the people around you. So why can't you stop? Because your brain treats this like survival. It fills gaps automatically, and almost always with the worst-case version. Someone doesn't reply means they're pulling away. Someone interrupts you means you're boring. Plans get canceled means something is wrong. Your brain would rather assume rejection than uncertainty, so it keeps you on guard. And then there's the phone. You send a message. 30 minutes pass, nothing. You check, then check again, then again. And slowly, you build a whole story about what that silence means. While the other person is just busy, not thinking about it at all. That's the reality most people don't want to accept. People are not thinking about you as much as you think they are. And yes, that stings at first, but then it becomes freeing. Because it means you don't have to perform anymore. You don't have to manage every perception. You don't have to get everything right. So here's a simple experiment. Stop initiating. Don't announce it. Don't make it a big thing. Just stop being the one who always texts first, plans first, checks in first. And watch what happens. Some people will reach out because they actually want to. Others won't. And your first instinct will be to take that personally. But don't. Not reaching out doesn't always mean not caring. It often just means they were used to you doing it. What this shows you isn't who loves you and who doesn't. It shows you which relationships were mutual and which ones existed mostly through your effort. And that's useful, because once you stop running your life through this invisible approval system, something shifts. Decisions get faster. You want to leave early, you leave. You want to say something, you say it. You want to try something, you try it. Because you remove the step where you simulate everyone's reaction first. And the funny part is, those people were never even in the room. You were consulting a version of them in your head, not the real them. And when that drops, You stop needing validation before something counts. You just do things. And that's where the real shift happens. Not when you stop caring about people, but when you stop needing them to define you. Because needing someone means your stability depends on them. Wanting someone means your life is already stable, and they add to it. That's real connection. And one last thing. The sensitivity you think is your weakness. The overthinking, the awareness, the way you notice everything, that's not broken. That's the same system that makes you deeply perceptive. The problem was never your depth. It's where you were using it. You were performing in the wrong room. The right room exists. But you won't find it while you're still trying to be acceptable everywhere. At some point, you realize this whole time you were living in a cage. And the door was never locked. You just never tried to open it. Because opening it meant risking who you'd be without the performance. But that's the only place your real life exists. And once you see that, you can't unsee it. So the question isn't, does anyone care about me? It's, do I stop performing long enough to find out?